Hello, hello. Today we are going to be building a bookstore cafe combo. Not just any bookstore and cafe combo though, we're doing a queer bookstore and cafe. Now, this is a little bit different for me. I have been trying to branch out a little bit and do some more community lots and businesses, especially ever since the new B&H expansion pack came out. I just think it's something I need to try out for myself a bit more. I focus primarily on residential lots. So I get a little bit uncomfortable doing businesses because you just have to think differently about the layout and the needs for the lot. But the nice thing is that if you're not really used to doing business builds or any other type of venue, we have plenty of options in the game to do this, and whenever you select any venue, it gives you a to-do list on making sure that you at least include the essentials that you need for this type of lot. So I decided to make this a small business venue just because there are a couple of different small businesses, and so we have a couple of kiosks and a couple of business signs here. And the lots also have traits that you can select, and that also can help inspire what you want to do on the inside or what you want to cater to, the type of people you want on your lot. So I'll show you all that later in the video too. Now, first off, I want to say I'm sorry. I forgot to click record while I was streaming this, and so I missed getting the shell, but it's a very basic kind of shell layout for this build, so I don't think it's something that is necessarily important for you to see or that you would be super excited to see. Now, I wanted to do this in Nordhaven. I just felt like it was a nice vibe with the bookstore cafe venue and also it just being the newest world that we've gotten recently. I just want to build here more and get used to the lot and the architecture style and things of that nature. If you've been here a little while on my YouTube channel, you might be wondering like, Matthew, why are you doing so many speed build videos? This is not like the normal content or usual content that you do. And that is because I have been streaming every day this month for Pride Month. I have a fundraiser over on Twitch that I'm doing and raising money for the Trevor Project. So the Trevor Project provides life-saving services to a lot of LGBTQ plus youth. So we're thinking about our kiddos here and teens who are, growing up in environments that might not be very supportive of them. And obviously, I don't think at this point it is surprising to hear, and I think a lot of us know that this community that I am a part of as well and identify in also has really high suicide rates. So I just think this is something that is really important and I wanted to get the word out in this speed build video, and I have been doing that and you all will hear me do it several more times, I am sure. So as you can see, I'm playing with the stairs right now in this build. That's always the first thing that I try to get knocked out of the way because sometimes I'll forget about stairs whenever I'm doing layouts and then it's like, oh man, I gotta change the layout entirely. And so I've gotten better about putting the stairs first. So please give me some credit for that. Now, for the exterior of this lot, I went with this pink and green color. I'm not the biggest fan of the green from the Businesses and Hobbies pack. I just feel like if it was a shade lighter, I would like it a little bit better. But this is influenced by three different flags in this build. So the exterior is influenced by the abrosexual pride flag. And then as we get into the interior, the cafe part is very much the pangender pride flag. It's just really cute pastel pinks and yellows, and I just thought it worked really well. So we get peach, pink, and yellow, which ends up being an interesting combination later in the video you'll see. For the bookstore area, I did some nods to the genderqueer flag. There are a lot of different flags that I tried to use to influence this build that might not come across otherwise. Now, the bookstore area is 3 floors, and so you might be thinking, Matthew, what are you planning to have a 3-story bookstore? Like, what are you putting in it? So I had a lot of ideas, and I just was like, I want to put them all in the same build. The bottom floor is obviously your main bookstore area. It's open to the cafe. I really like the idea that these business owners play off of one another to get business and drive customers to and from each of their businesses. So I intentionally did that because I just feel like it's a nice vibe. Oftentimes bookstores in person have little cafes inside of them. People go there to study, do whatever work. So the idea with this is that we have a little like coffee stand area where we sell coffee products in the bookstore, and then in the cafe area I have a little cart with books on it that we try to sell over in the cafe and some magazine stands outside. So it's like they're trying to help each other grow business for one another. So I just thought it was a cute idea to do something like that. What you can see here is I put a nice little seating area in the back, and whenever I'm thinking of queer for this, I was just trying to focus more on style. So I wanted to do some eclectic patterns and things like that in this part of the bookstore. So I have this nice checkerboard from Cozy Kitsch, the vibe from that with the fireplace and the rugs. And then we get this striped furniture as well from Cozy Kitsch that is just really fun and plays on one another. And then, of course, the colors I think are really interesting. We get a lot of greens, but I also bring in some pops of orange and pink in the back. And I felt like that was just like a really fun combination to do because everywhere else I use this really dark wood tone. So I wanted some bright colors to pop off of that. Not to say that checkerboard patterns and stripes and things like that are like queer patterns, but it just made me feel that type of vibe. I don't know how to explain it very well. So I put the little register and I put the kiosk up here at the front because we have to have a kiosk, obviously. And then I ended up putting some really nice assortments of books all around this bookstore area. I even put this really nice round table at the front, like we were featuring certain books. And I put the windows on the side here because I really like to do window shopping. And I feel like people enjoy seeing things like that. So anytime I do a business, like every time so far, I have always put these big windows and make it look like there is window shopping that can be done here. With the little area upstairs for the second floor, I have a few different areas. We have the bathrooms, which isn't as exciting, or is it? Because I actually did some really fun stuff with the bathrooms in this build. But I also put this area for kids on the second floor. So the idea with that is that we have drag story time and we have a dedicated area for that as well as puppet shows. So I remember when I was growing up, we would have book fairs and we would go to the library and they would have little events and things like that for us to, enjoy whenever we went. And I remember seeing puppet shows and entertainers and stuff like that whenever we would go to the library. So I wanted to put something like that for kids here. And then obviously with it being a queer bookstore, I put the drag story time area for that purpose. And you can see how I just put that coffee stand over by the archway where you go to enter the cafe. So that's what I was talking about with a little bit of cross promotion there. Now, also on the second floor, I end up putting this area for book clubs. If you're in a book club, you can rent out our little room or nook, whatever you want to call it, where you meet and discuss the book that you read and hang out. So I thought that was a really fun little business venture for the bookstore. I was just trying to think of a lot of different ways to use a bookstore because whenever I was first going into it, before I even started building, just conceptually, I like to think through ideas. I was initially thinking of things that are in a library, and I was like, wait. We're doing a bookstore, not a library, Matthew. So I had to pivot a little bit before I started the stream. But I thought that would be a really cool thing to, bring in some extra income if you were like in real life and you had a bookstore and you're trying to drive business to your bookstore. I think it's interesting to come up with some different things that other people who, maybe don't want to buy books, but they can bring their kids there for this and maybe they see other things that they want to purchase while they're there. Or, your book club can rent out a room, you can make money that way. Or you can go to the third floor. Now, the third floor, I have a staged area for poetry slams. So if you're unfamiliar with this, it's generally just like there's a group of people and they just read poetry on stage with a microphone. It's just like a really vulnerable type of experience. If you've never seen it before, I highly encourage you to go because I think it's really interesting how people can convey emotions through poetry in a way that relates to a lot of people. So I just thought it was a really cool vibe to have a dedicated space for that. And then there's like a little bar area up there. And then off of that room, we also have an archives room. So I was just thinking like where we keep our old manuscripts and like things that we want to protect a little bit more. In the archives room itself, we actually have a high school hangout area. It doesn't really have to be high school, just like generally a hangout space that I was picturing that people would sneak in to go hang out. And I even have a closet in that room, if you know what I'm saying. So, you can get a little woohoo going on there. Not that I encourage that necessarily if you're in high school, but I think y'all know what I'm just saying. It'd be fun and game to have a space where people try to sneak off to, and then that option is there. That's all I'm saying. So this is where I'm actually setting up the table for the front to have some like fun displays. I'm putting some books under the staircase. I tried to utilize every space that I could because I got a little carried away with that seating area in the back, and I was just like, I don't have as much space to actually sell books. So I was like, I'm trying to use every nook and cranny that I could, but I still really wanted that space in the back where people could maybe even go from the cafe and come over here and sit down and enjoy their coffee or something like that with the faux fireplace that we have. And also, I didn't really state it, but I really liked the idea of it being sized up. I thought it lent to a really fun energy about the space. I don't know, having that particular fireplace sized up like that, it's not only grand, but it's also just playful and it really draws your eye. So I was thinking, as you walk through the front door, your eye is immediately drawn to the very back. There's a clear sight line from the front of the store to the back of the store. And I wanted that to be something that was important in the design and layout of the space. If you're new here, I like to overthink things. So I definitely build with the intention of it being hyper realistic and functional in that regard. It might not always be functional in the game, but in person it would be. I wanted the cozy vibe, and I thought with these floors, it was not really doing it for me. So I end up layering a ton of rugs, and I do this a lot in all of my builds, no matter if it's residential or a business. It's just something I love doing and putting a lot of fun patterns and colors together. And I wanted to draw that orange color in the back up to the front. So I have that Dream Home Decorator rug up there, and I just got rid of it. So I guess I didn't keep it, which is kind of funny. But I'm just like trying to spruce up the space and clutter it up a good bit. Whenever I think of bookstores, I think of like old bookstores. Like, I don't think of like a brand new bookstore. I like to go into fun, like older energy, like take me back 20 to 30 years. And I want it to be a little bit on the messy side. I don't know why, but that just seems more fun to me than a very, very clean, sterile, organized bookstore. I want the chaos a little bit. I want the clutter, I want the personality in the space. So I really wanted this to have the vibe of like a small business owner. And that's truly the inspiration, obviously, with B&H. And B&H, that's the sole purpose of it, is for it to be more of like a small business venture that you start. So I wanted to put the fun chandeliers in here to kind of nod to this older style a little bit. And I just think that really helped pull it off with not only the grandeur, but also just the old vibes. We don't really see light fixtures like that in modern or urban builds necessarily. So I just thought that lent to the same fun energy. And I actually end up putting them in the cafe as well, but we use the pink swatch, which is a lot more fun for that side of the build. So I'm just cluttering up the little coffee stand here by the entrance. I just thought that it would look a little bit more realistic to have more clutter on these shelves that was related to the cafe. And then we also have the little drinks that you can get, the bottles from Comfy Gamer. I thought that was a cute vibe. I always like using those in business builds, even like candy stores and things like that. I just like having that as an object you can buy because it's really cutesy. So now we're getting to the second floor. Now, the layout for this floor, I knew all the things I wanted on this floor, but figuring out the layout was a little tricky. So I was initially looking at having the bathrooms actually be in the center of the space and you could walk around them entirely. It doesn't end up staying that way because where I just put the divider, I actually use that as the entrance area for the room that your book club can rent out. And I was like, the kids area is on the other side. So how are we going to keep kids from coming over into the room? So I was just like, let's close off that space because that would be annoying to be meeting with your book club and then you're just hearing kids playing or doing whatever the entire time. So I end up closing that off on that side, but I do keep it open and put more of the kids' play area back there where they can do some crafts, draw. They have some books back there too. This area that I'm working over here, I put the little rainbow color bookshelves. I put them in the order of the rainbow. I do that in a few different ways in this build. And then this is the drag story time area. So I put the little puppet show thing in that little nook where the fireplace is downstairs, and then that ends up being where I put the closet in the third floor. So it ended up being a fun little nook on each floor and had a very good purpose, I think, for each floor. I of course had to use the rainbow rugs as much as I could in here, not to be too cliche, but I just really like the colors of these. I think it's a little more pastel-y, which is more fun, I think. And I don't really like super saturated colors in The Sims. I try to go more for muted colors. And I ended up putting a platform here. I just thought that was a little bit more the essence of a drag entertainer coming in and you're like on this pedestal type thing. and you can read to the kids from up there and they're looking up at you. So I put some really cute little seating and some fun things to do over in this area too. I put some plushies. So like I was imagining that kids would want to come over here, grab a plushie and sit down and hear the story that's being told. So I put some books over there too on the table by where the drag entertainer would be. And so now I'm just like going through trying to figure out what the walls, the columns are going to be. I wanted something fun. Like I knew I wanted really colorful energy. I put these cloud lights because I just think that's a really cute vibe. And so I make those purple. And then over on the little nook area where these bookcases are, you can see I just closed it off with the little den area for the book club. But I end up actually putting a pretty good bit of sky with cloud related things over there. So I used the cloud rug, I used the curtains with the clouds on them. So it just kind of tied it all in together, I feel like, a bit more. Okay, so now I'm like adding the wallpaper on this little section. I love this wallpaper with like the rainbow look to it with the drips running down. I think it's really fun energy, and I really hate how when it goes around a corner, it doesn't like fit correctly. The pattern breaks off and it starts over again. That was annoying. But now we're getting to the bathrooms. Now, usually I'm not like super excited about bathrooms. I like to do bathrooms because I clutter them up a pretty good bit, and I try to do some fun designs with bathrooms because I feel like they're often overlooked in the Sims community. I don't know why builders can't get into bathrooms as much as everywhere else. Like, we actually have a lot of great items for bathrooms. So I don't like to cut them out of my speed builds. I like to do something fun like this with them. I tried some different swatches and different wallpapers all together. I'm just generally saying wallpapers, obviously it's tile, but you know what I'm saying. But I wanted like the fun rainbow energy to carry into the bathroom spaces. It's right off the kids area. So I was just like, let's play on that a little bit. And then I did not think about it until I was already finished with the lot, how these were literally the only two bathrooms on the entire lot. So yes, if you're over in the cafe, you have to come over to the bookstore and go up a floor. I'm sorry. Like in real life, that would be, I think, a little annoying. But that's just like what I was saying earlier. I'm not used to doing businesses as much. So I don't think about the things that are very simple to think about right off the bat. Like people would be like, you know, we got to have bathrooms. And I even said it in the stream several times, like, we got to fit a bathroom in the cafe upstairs. And then I got a little carried away with the board game area. And so we don't end up having a bathroom in the cafe area, but it's okay. They still have bathrooms on the lot. The lot is open and it's open to the bookstore, you know, so we still have that little archway. They're connected. It's all one building in a way. So it works out. But I did the fun little toilets we get. I used some City Living in the bathrooms. We actually have a lot of really fun swatches from City Living. So I just think that plays really well for kid areas and also just really fun eclectic vibes in general if you want really colorful rainbow pattern things. I love these little chairs that we get. I had some chairs like this when I was growing up. I was obsessed with them. I actually had a few different ones. I had like a little tiny recliner. I ended up having another little tiny living chair. And then I had a chair that was like this that you could actually unfold into a bed, like a little bed, and you could fold it back up into the chair. That was the rave in the 90s, y'all. Like, those were so cool when they came out, but I digress. But I used this fun little green tile in the bathroom on the left, and I put it on the ceiling as well. Never have used that before, and I was like, if I'm going to use it in a build, it has to be this build. So I wanted to bring the green color out because I was trying to get every color of the rainbow in the bathrooms, and so I was trying to highlight the colors as much as I could to get all of the colors in. So now this is the area where your book club can come in and just hang out, talk about the books that y'all are reading. So it's just a lot of lounging. I put a lot of chairs in here. I put the couch, and I just put a lot of little clutter with candles, books, plants, just to make it seem a little more relaxing to be in. Now I understand in real life that this would still not be quite ideal to be next to the children's play area and you not have a closed off wall. But the idea with this too is that you're not going to always have kids up here necessarily. So let's not overthink this part of the build. It was just more about the idea of having a book club come in and just hang out. Or, you know, you could think of it as a space where the parents stay whenever the kids are over there having their story time hour. So, you know, if you want to get away a little bit and just relax, you can just be right next to your kids and just relax over here with the other parents and hang out while they're doing their little thing over there. So that's the idea with this. So I wanted to bring the Cozy Kitsch vibes upstairs to this as well. You can see I used the orange and pink a pretty good bit here too. So I tied those colors in even in the cafe, like I said earlier, based on the pangender flag, which is super pastel-y, like pinks, yellows, and peach colors. So it gets a little interesting with the cafe when we get to it. Now, this has been a lot of fun so far this month. I just want to like shout out that we have reached our goal of $1,000. We're over $1,000 raised so far this month. I initially was going to make it $500. And then, a week or two before I started the fundraiser, I was like, I'm feeling ambitious. I think we can raise $1,000. We did that in 2 weeks. So I just want to like take some time right now to say thank you to everyone who has donated so far. Even if you haven't been able to donate monetarily, I appreciate you being there to support the stream. Obviously, just being there helps get the stream out in front of other people because of all of the like algorithms and all of that stuff. It's annoying how it works, but it is what it is. But just in numbers, the more numbers we have, the more people will see us, and then we get more donations that way. So even if you can't donate, it still helps if you're there to support the stream. And then also, if you could just share the link, I'll have it linked below, then that would be excellent. You could share it in your group chats, share it with your friends, your family. If you are in other Discord servers, then by all means, share it with explicit permission from the owner of the server. Don't just spam it, but I would appreciate your help with getting the word out about this fundraiser, and I would love to see us just completely blow past that initial goal. Right now, our goal is at 1,250 now. So we'll see if we end up hitting that. But I've done some really fun incentives for the fundraiser so far, and that we've done a few different Pride renovation challenges, and I had a stream where I wore my mullet wig and then I posted some like cringy photos on the Discord server, which by the way, if you're not a member of the Discord server, that's linked below as well. Would love to have you join in between streams, between YouTube uploads. We just hang out, vibe on Sims related content as well as just any type of content. We like to share our fur babies, what's going on with them, what's going on with our lives, and just hang out and support one another. So if you're into that and you want to be a part of that, by all means, join us there. Now, I love these curtains from Movie Hangout, and it's just more, I was thinking of the abrosexual pride flag. If you're not familiar with that flag, it looks like a watermelon color scheme, and so anytime I saw the pink and green, I tried to use it just as a nod to the exterior design of this. And I put these like little chests. I put one upstairs, that purple one that you see, as well as one downstairs by the fireplace, and what you can do is you can actually store books in it. And so I was pretending that we store our premium books in these chests, and then I of course was wanting to put pride flags all over the place in this build, so I thought that the walls going up by the staircases were like the perfect spaces for that. And then came the top floor. Now this floor embarrassingly took me a while to figure out the layout. I tried so many things, but also the game was breaking on me several times because I tried to put a stage in, which of course you have to use a platform for. So anytime you use platforms in this game, it breaks so many things. I have so many issues with it still, and it's just really annoying. It was just really annoying to work with, and I couldn't figure out where I wanted the stage. I first wanted it to just be completely open upstairs, but then I really wanted to use these little bookcases that we got from Werewolves that you see off to the side, because we get like a lot of different colors, and I wanted them to be in the order of the rainbow. That was like being a struggle because there are so many of them. I wanted to be able to wrap them around or have them connected and attached somehow. So that's why you see me moving this platform literally all over the place. And then all it ended up being for the layout was just a straight wall down. I tried so many fun things and none of it worked. And so I just ended up resorting to a little rectangular box on the back side of this room. And that's again where the closet ends up being. So you can have a little fun up there. And I put my little bookcases in here. I wrapped them around this wall, and I was still moving the platform around. And this is the final layout. So we're done moving the platform around. This is where the stage ends up being. I wanted a cute little corner stage. I just thought that lent to the vibes a good bit. We don't need like a huge stage for this. I was just thinking it could be a place where we have our poetry slams and maybe the occasional karaoke night that happens, or like someone can rent it out for a fun little venue, so you could use it for parties if you wanted to. But I end up putting that VIP rope that we get in the game and blocking off the staircase to the third floor, which I think is a cute way to incorporate the story a little bit more for that space. And so now I'm just like putting in some paneling to accent the back of the stage area. I wanted something to just stick out a little bit more. I tried putting the curtains here, but it just didn't look right. So I ended up putting them on the spandrel eventually on the outside, which gets a little tricky. And so here you can see exactly what I was talking about with moving the curtains, and I was just trying to get them aligned. So now I'm like putting the bar in. Just wanted it to feel more like an entertainment space. So it's a little weird to have a bar, like if you're thinking of a bookstore. But again, this is a 3-story bookstore venue. So I wanted it to be multi-purpose. So we have a fun little entertainment space on the 3rd floor that people can rent out, not just for poetry slams, but you could have like birthday parties up here. You could do literally anything. You could rent it out to anyone for the most part. So it has a fun little hangout room off of it. So you just never know. And I wanted to use some of the stage equipment, but it wasn't fitting very well. But then I came across this little item, which was really, really cute. And it has like the little crate with the light on it. It just makes it look a little more like rustic looking. So I was like, this is perfect. And I put some stage lights behind the curtains. I thought that was a fun little vibe. But I just like the little rug with the cooler. It makes it just feel more rough around the edges. I don't know how to put it, but usually with these poetry slams and things like that, it's just more of like a funky little vibe, like almost hipster in a way. So I didn't want it to look like a professionally set stage. I wanted it to look a little bit on the like old side, like with some fun little garage band. Garage band's the perfect word I'm looking for. Like garage band vibes. That's what I was going for. So we have like some of the older looking rugs up here. And then I put like a lot of the fun little folding chairs, and I put them in the rainbow colors and sequence, and that was like a really fun thing to do. I put the mural on the wall up here too on the brick, and I thought that was a really cool little add on and touch for that. I forgot to change the color of them. I eventually go back and do that, but it takes me a minute to remember that. This was a hectic stream for me. So just keeping in mind that I am streaming while I'm doing this, which is a lot to juggle, and I'm not used to trying to do, speed build videos and trying to finish a build in a stream because I like to be super detail oriented. So it's like a new kind of thing to figure out for me. It's a fun challenge. This month has challenged me in a lot of ways and pushed me out of my comfort zone, but I think for the better in a lot of ways as well for my content. So from a content standpoint, I think I'm getting a little more confident that not every build has to be like superb and sublime and super, super detail oriented. You can still have fun. The purpose of streaming is to hang out with people and do it together. So oftentimes, literally every stream, I feel like I get input from everyone who's watching the stream. Like, what should I do here? Or what swatch do y'all like better? Or what object do you think would work well here? So it is really a community effort. And I think that is more important than focusing on the build itself needing to be perfect or have all of these extraneous details. So I'm trying to get better at building faster. And that's something that is really hard for me because I'm a perfectionist and I really like the details. That's what I love about building. And that's why I build other lots outside of my streams. So whenever you watch my content on YouTube, I have a lot of builds that I do that I just do like the tour videos of because I've been working on them for days before I show y'all the final product, and there's just not enough time for me to get all of the footage. Even at 10 times the speed, I guarantee you it would be like several hours long for some of the builds that I've done off stream. So I'm still going to keep doing just tour videos for some of my more detailed builds or fun builds that I do off stream. I think it's important for me as a creator to be able to do that because I don't want to just only produce content from my streams. I want to also, build homes that I enjoy doing, not feeling the pressure of having to rush. And so whenever I stream and do these builds, I always have that like clock and pressure on me to like keep it moving, which, isn't fun to have that pressure, but I do think it helps me, just to push me a little bit more and not focus on every little thing. So it's hard for me to let go sometimes. I admit it. Y'all know how I am on stream. I'll get caught up sometimes in the most like minute detail of something, and I'll spend 10 minutes trying to fix it or work on it. And I know it's not the most fun thing to watch. So I try to be mindful of that and not do it too much. But for this room, I'm almost finished with this area, and I really wanted the low dim light, warm light for this room. It just vibed, I thought, a lot better. Okay, so now we're getting into the cafe area, which doesn't take nearly as long. It's way smaller than the bookstore venue area. Now I'm just like setting up the little menu space behind the counter. I'm putting like some of the fun little cozy bistro nods in here. I also put the tile from Cozy Bistro. So that came in handy for this build. There's a really cute pink swatch that stuff comes in. So it was perfect for this. And then y'all know I had to put Phil in here. If you're new here, Phil, he goes in all of our builds, literally all of our builds. So you will see that plant in almost every build, I guarantee you, ever since the sleep bathroom kit came out. Every build. This elephant teapot also very common and popular for my builds. So I ended up putting this pink paneling, which I thought was really cute for a little cafe space. And then I have like this white exposed brick because we have this exposed brick over in the bookstore as well. I just wanted it to be brighter here. Now, this was a whole thing with this booth situation. Keep in mind the flag that you can see there, the pangender flag. It's peach, pink, and yellow. So we have peach and pink. Now, I had this booth that was white and pink, but then I came across this peach swatch of this booth, and I was like, should we do it? This was one of the polls I put on the stream. Everyone was like, let's do it. Let's combine the peach and the pink. Does it clash? Yes, but it does match the color scheme of the flag. So I had a little bit of fun, it's not necessarily mismatching, but it is a little clashy to have peach and pink on top of one another, but I think it looks really cute actually. So I think that's something I otherwise wouldn't have done if I weren't using a flag to inspire the build. So that was a fun little thing to figure out and do. Now, like right now, I initially had the magazine stand inside. I eventually moved that outside and put the little, it's actually like a library cart, but it just has books on it, and put that by the entrance. And I just thought that was a cute thing to do where people could maybe, while they're sipping on their coffee or tea, they could just be reading a book. They could pick one up, you could read it, you could buy books. I put some books on the counter as well, the little stack with books. If we have a book that's really orange and it has a coffee cup on it, so it just made sense to put that there. I made this little one tile area a utility closet, and I just thought that was helpful to clean and put things there. So we don't have a bathroom in the cafe, but we do get a utility closet, which, way more functional, right? I'm just like going through and putting some decor items now. I was trying to figure out like what was the vibe or the aesthetic with the decor situation, and we don't have a lot of room necessarily on the first floor for decor. So I just was really leaning into the peach and pink vibes on things. I used a lot of the B&H objects that we get in Live Edit that you can build with ceramics. That's what I used a lot of for around the little cafe area. And like I said, I went back and then did the chairs and changed the swatches of those. Now, this is something that I've done before in one of my other builds. We have this like little bump out with the flowers and stones on it. It's in a frame, but it has a mirror behind it. What I like to do is actually alt place it back into the wall. I just think it's a really cool vibe to make it look like it's built into the wall as opposed to it just being mounted on the wall with a mirror, and it just helps cut it in half because it comes out from the wall pretty far. And I was like, I'm putting it over a booth, so I don't want people's heads to be hitting it or something like that. I have this issue commonly, please let me know if y'all do too, with the Book Nook kit and the bookcases not slotting together. It's supposed to be modular, but I have always had an issue with it like actually building on top of one another. For some reason, it likes to build diagonally. And I don't know why. It has been a common issue for me. And so I always have to just build them out of order, as you could see, and then fill in the gaps. Eventually, it'll slot to where I want it to go as I build it out. But that's a really annoying thing for me. So let me know if y'all deal with that. And because the staircase was an L shape, we had this weird one tile area in the corner. Now, I was initially wanting that to be like maybe a cat tree, just thinking that maybe this could be a cat hangout area. And it just ended up not working out because I wanted to build out that whole built-in wall with the bookcases. So I end up just blocking it off, and I put like a fun little plant light there. So we get an additional light, and it's just like a fun little feature area to have that plant light that we get. Now, if you saw the two little wallpaper swatches, I did a poll on the stream as well for those flowers with the yellow and pink from Love Struck versus this stripe pattern that you see. And the stripes won. Sorry if you voted for the roses, the stripes won out. So that's what we ended up using here. And I think it actually ties in a little bit better because of the vibes we get in the bookstore with the stripy checkered patterns. So it works. It works collectively. We get that pink peachy color a little bit more, and I wanted to bring the yellow upstairs a bit more, and that's just because downstairs it's mainly pink and peach. So I was like, we need the yellow. I haven't done enough with the yellow, so a lot of the furniture upstairs is yellow. And then someone was talking about beanbag chairs in the chat at one point. I was like, oh, we have chairs that kind of are reminiscent of beanbags, so let's put these like little cushy chairs up here, because that fits the vibe too for like a little board game area space. Because I was just thinking it was more of like a hangout for people to come up and play, be together, and just relax a little bit. So I was like, let's lean into that a little more. So I end up putting the little tapestry with the flag up here as well. I think that's a cute little touch. I love this object so much. I think I've used it, I don't even know how many times ever since we got that from the Pride Collection update for base game. But that is one of my favorite objects that we got, and you can put it literally in any build. The color schemes, pride flags just have really fun color schemes, generally speaking. I personally am a huge fan of the lesbian pride flag. I love the color scheme of that pride flag way more than the gay pride flag. Sorry if I offended some people, but not sorry. So I ended up putting these like little debug puzzle pieces that we get in the game. Now, the bad thing about this is when you place it, you can't delete it. I didn't know that at the time, so I really just wanted one pile, but I was like, we can have two, why not? And I hadn't saved in a while. I was like, I'm not redoing all of that. But I put these little cookie rugs down here too. It was the perfect swatch, and I just could not resist using it. And this build took me a very long time, so we're getting close to getting to the point of doing the exterior. So I just want to go ahead and get into the game and show y'all the final product. So I built it on this 20 by 20 lot down here in Nordhaven. I initially wanted to build it on this lot, but it ended up not being the vibe because this is more like the industrial architecture. And then this is more like the classical architecture, and I just thought this was more cutesy for a bookstore and cafe. The lot traits I put for this build were great acoustics, which I was just thinking of the poetry slam area with the stage, and then the child's play, which is a no-brainer for that second floor of the bookstore. And then I put fast internet because, I mean, you come to a cafe, a lot of people have their laptop. So again, to what I was saying earlier, if you get stuck or you don't know what to do, look at the traits to inspire you, because even with some of the lots, they actually gray out traits that you cannot select based on the venue type. So whenever I selected this to be a small business venue, I could not select certain types of lot traits, which was a little bit unfortunate because some of them I was interested in, but it is what it is. So this is the venue. This is outside here. I like put some fun little book clutter. I was just imagining like sometimes bookstores will put book fairs outside, or like they'll sell really cheap books. And then this is the outside of the cafe venue, which I think is really cute. I loved putting the ivy all over the side of this. And then you have all your little seats outside, plenty of lighting, really cutesy vibes. And then over here in the back is where I put the little playground area. So we have a slide, and then we have our little monkey bars. And then I put a sprinkler with the water balloons. I thought that was cute, and a little swing set here. And I put a little hopscotch area over here with a little stand. I just tried to make it feel like it fit in with the community around it. I even tried to like tie in the landscaping similarly to what we see over here and like back here with the tree cages and such. So I tried my best. This is just where I get out of my comfort zone. Not to get into the details too much, but I was really happy to find that this planter box, when sized down, actually fits into the windowsill of this really well. And I think that looks really cute like that with these windows. So there's a little, hack for you. But I also wanted to use this mural here with the kids on it, like it's a kids play area. And so I put that there too. So let's head inside because I know that's what y'all want to see more than anything. This is the final product here. So when you come in over here, you have your register area, you have some book space over here, the cafe entrance with the little cafe stand. And then we have our little books over here. And then this is like the feature wall in this area. I had a lot of fun cluttering this up. It looks really cute in my opinion. I like the pink with the orange. I think it's a fun combination. And then a lot of the books that we can sell, we have on the stands over here. You can window shop a little bit with some of our best sellers. And then as we head upstairs, this is the little kids area. I really love how this turned out. I think it's a really cute space for them to hang out in. And I just love the freezer bunnies. I tried to use that in a fun way. And then we have our little nook over here where they can, have more playtime area that's dedicated for that. And then over here, as you can see, we have it blocked off to get up to the third floor. So that's our little rope there. And then this is where your book clubs can hang out and just chat. And then as we come up here, you can see our little stage area, really fun vibes. I love how this turned out. I think it's a really fun space. And like, I would love to rent this space out just to hang out with friends or have a party or something. And then this is where our little hangout cove is and our fun little woohoo spot. Okay, and then I want to enter the cafe from over here really quickly so you can get the full experience. So as you come in here, we have our little book cart here, the little kiosk, and then our flag that, you know, the interior of this is based off of. And then we have the actual cafe area over here. Now, this is a really fun color scheme. I think it's a fun vibe. I put this little wall decal above this teapot because it made me think of like smoke coming out, or I guess it wouldn't be smoke, it would be steam, but you know what I'm saying. But we have our little mugs cluttered up that we sell here, and then you can come out here for the outdoor patio space, and then you can come around up here to get to our fun little board game room. So plenty of seating to hang out, play some games, and then we have like our main area where you store all the board games, have some books, and just sit down, have some fun. Oh, so those puzzle pieces did end up disappearing at some point. So I guess I don't have to worry about that necessarily. Now, this was like a little bit of a fun accident in that these curtains being layered with this was a really fun vibe because I thought with it showing fully, it was a little too much. So this kind of cuts out the yellow because we have so much yellow in the furniture, but you still get the fun like vibe of it. So I don't know. It ended up being a fun little addition that I wasn't necessarily planning out. So I'm putting this on the gallery as the lavender page. So let me know if you play in it. I'd love to see pictures. Put it in the Discord, whatever you end up doing with it. I will say this is one of my favorite lots that I've done recently. This is really cute. And with that, I just want to say I'd love to have y'all join me over on Twitch to hang out. I still have a lot of streams planned, obviously streaming every day for the rest of the month. So would love to have you stop by, join in the fun. I do have a shell challenge going on right now. And if you want the details on that, I'll put the video here and you can check out what I did for it. We're going to tour them on the 29th. And again, I have the donation link to the Trevor Project link below, and I would appreciate it if you could donate, even if it's just $1. With that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all in the next one, okay? Bye. Y'all, this month has been really stressful, but honestly, it has been so fulfilling in so many ways. I feel like this has really helped me get out of my shell a good bit.